Hey folks, welcome back to Biscuits Total War. This is Biscuits giving you another kind of miscellaneous video for Rome Total War. Now, I'm sure you guys already know that my channel is pretty much dedicated to playing Rome Total War. Now, when I go online, over the years, I've got into loads of little arguments with people who've told me that I'm either breaking the rules or I don't know the rules. So what I thought I'd do, I put together a little video where I actually describe to you what the two most common rule sets are for Rome Total War online. What I mean by that is when you go online and you play against other players, often people play two types of rules, CWB or 31K rules. In this video I'm going to give you the actual rules for both of those sets of gameplay, so you'll know exactly what the rules are. So if you ever get into an argument like I do when I go online, when people accuse me of breaking the rules, you can either direct them to this video or direct them to certain websites online, which I'll go through in a second. So the first one I'm going to go through is the most common rule set, and it's probably the one that gets broken the most, and that is CWB. So first of all, let's start off with that one. Okay, so CWB rules, really simple. First thing I'd suggest that you do, if you go straight on to Google and type in what are CWB rules, the first link you'll get is to the Total War Center, where somebody's actually already created a little thread of their own, and on that thread it really explains nice and clearly what CWB rules are. Now first of all, CWB stands for Clan War Belt Rules, and it was a set of rules that was introduced by several clan members online to make the gameplay balanced and also being able to use several different factions without one faction being OP or overpowered. So the gist of the rules are, it's 6 max of the same unit type, 8 max cav, 8 max archers including slingers, 2 max horse archers, 2 max berserkers, no artillery, no elephant, no red line camping, and ideally no faction reselection. Now what I'll do, I'll jump straight into the actual game itself and actually give you a few examples of what those rules consist of. Okay, so what I wanted to do here was really give you a few examples of some CWB builds. So going back to the basic rules, it's 6 max of the same unit. So what you could get is 6 urban cohort if you so wanted. You'd be able to also get 6 Praetorian cav. Now you could have an extra 2 cav, because going back to the rules it's 8 max cav. So you could go for another, say, 2 legionary cav if you wanted to. Also regarding archers, it is 8 max archers, but it's 6 max of the same unit, so you could go for 6 standard archers like so, and then get 2 archer auxiliaries, and then that would be a CWB build, because you've got 6 of the same unit, or maximum 6 of the same unit, and no more than 8 cav or no more than 8 archers. You can't go for any artillery, so that's things like ballistas, scorpions, onagers. You can't go for any of those. One thing that some people get mixed up with is Jav Cav or Auxilia Cav. That does not count as horse archers, so you could in theory go for 6 of these units if you wanted to, and 2 Praetorian Cav, because you're not over exceeding the 8 cav limit, and yet you're not going for horse archers because Rome doesn't field any horse archers. I'll give you another example with Egypt. Now this tends to be the biggest one. With Egypt you can have 2 maximum horse archers, so horse archers or chariot archers, so it's really standard, but you can also count chariots as cav. So strictly speaking, you could have 6 standard chariots and 2 chariot archers, and that would not be breaking CWB because the whole chariots count as cav. So you can have 6 standard chariots, 2 chariot archers, and then again you could go for 6 standard archers if you wanted to, and 2 elite archers. So strictly speaking, you've actually got in total 10 missile units, because 2 chariot archers you can use, you can have 6 standard bowmen, and then 2 elite archers. So that's in total of 8 missile troops. So that comes really handy, especially when it comes to doing CWB rules, because often you need to do a lot of skirmishing. So Egypt could theory have 8 missile units, so 10 missile units. Scythia could in theory have 10 missile units because they could go for 2 horse archers, 6 of their standard archers, and 2 elite archers if you wanted to. If we have a look at the Dacians, they do exactly the same. You could have 2 horse archers there, 6 standard archers, or 6 elite archers, or whatever your combination you wanted to do. But as long as your archer units didn't exceed over 8, and you can also go for your 2 horse archers. Bear in mind, when you go for your 2 horse archers, that comes off your cav total. So that means you could have 2 horse archers followed by 6, say, standard cav units, so a total of 8 cav. Other things to bear in mind with Germany, you can have 2 maximum berserkers, so unfortunately you can't have 6 berserkers. And also, if you choose a faction, say for example you chose let's say Parthia, and then somebody chose the Britons, you couldn't then go, actually I'm going to change my mind and now change Parthia back to, say, Rome. Once you've picked the faction, you've got to stay with your faction. So that's something you also to bear in mind. And lastly, not least, when you're actually on the battlefield, you can't corner camp, or you can't send your army right to the edge of the battlefield and use that as a barrier. You've got to always be either in the centre or moving around the place. You can't hide in the corner or red line camp, which is otherwise known as. So I tried to make it really simple with CWB. Again, I've tried to go through a bit more information than what most people do when you see videos online. And again, it's just really emphasising and stressing that Jav Cav counts as normal Cav, Chariots count as normal Cav. It's only Chariot Archers and Horse Archers that count as skirmish Cav, that you can only have 2 maximum of. So hopefully that makes it nice and simple. Hopefully that makes it nice and easy. Again, go back, watch the video several times if you want to. Go on that website which I showed earlier on. The combination of this video and also the information online should hopefully never ever break CWB rules. And if you see somebody that does break CWB rules, you can also direct them to that link on that website or this video. So a combination of the two should be nice and safe. So what I'll do next, I'll move straight on to 31K rules. Okay, let's talk about 31K rules. Now 31K rules, it is exactly what it says on the tin. 31K means that when you create your army, you're having 31,000 denarii to actually create that army. So what I'll do, I'll amend this to 31,000. And also 31K tends to be played on large scale. With 31K rules, it is max 6 cav, and then it is max 3 berserkers, no artillery, no onagers, no elephants. So really simple rules, much simpler than the CWB. So if you picked Rome, potentially you could go for 14 urban cohorts, because there's no cap on infantry units, and then you could also bring 6 Praetorian cav, because as I said it's 6 max cav. Leave you a tiny bit of extra money and you could give 2 chevrons to your general, and then that would be a standard 31K build. And if you're new to 31K, that tends to be a good army to actually start off with. I've just realised with this example I'm actually giving you everything's on a huge scale, but I'm sure you can see past that. So as I mentioned before, there's 2 maximum horse archers that you can have. So if you go to Pontus, they could have, let's have a look, 14 bronze shield pikemen. Let's get all of these guys up. Now you can either go for 2 chariot archers, like so, and then go for a bunch of scythe chariots, which would be 4. So you can either go for 6 scythe chariot units, 5 scythe chariot units and 1 chariot archer, or 4 scythe chariots and 2 chariot archers. But either way, the total maximum amount of cav that you can have comes to a total of 6. regardless if you use up the 2 chariot archers or you don't use up the 2 chariot archers or horse archers. Or you could decide, you know what, I don't want any of those, I'm just going to go for Cappadocian cav, get a bunch of those, and maybe, I don't know, some armoured generals or whatever you want to do. But either way, the total maximum cav amount that you can have comes to 6, whether that be a chariots, whether that be chariot archers, whether that be horse archers or standard cavalry units. The other thing to bear in mind is that, again, you can't use artillery, you can't use elephants, you can't redline camp, and when it comes to Germany you can have a maximum of 3 berserkers. So to give you an example of a German build, you could have, say, 6 cav units, one of a barbarian chosen general, a couple of chosen archers, a couple of chosen axemen, 2 Knight Raiders and 3 Berserkers. So you're not breaking CWB, you're not breaking 31k rules, it's all within the rule limit and you're using the majority of your money up. The other thing to bear in mind is once you pick a faction, again, ideally not to change a faction. So to give you an example, if you're doing a 2 versus 2 and say one team goes for the Romans, the other one then counters that with Romans, next player goes for Romans, and then this player, say, goes for Greece if it's a 2 versus 2, and then all of a sudden this player decides to change their mind and go to Macedon to counter Greece. You know, you can't do that. You got to, once you've picked a faction, you got to stay with that faction, unless you're playing a friendly game and you ask the other players if you can change your faction, then you can change your faction. So try to make it really simple with 31k rules. Hopefully you guys understand that. Again, if you have any queries or questions, leave a little comment in the comment section on the video. I'll endeavour to do my best to actually answer all those questions. But hopefully I've made it as simple as possible. As I said, 31k rules tends to be played on large scale. It gives you that epic feel. CWB tends to be played on normal scale because you've got more skirmishing, you've got more maneuverability, and if you've got normal scale on, it gives you the access to really do a lot of micromanagement really quickly with those units. Anyway, let me know what you thought of the video. Leave a little comment. If you ever get stuck, check out the video, check out that link on that website which I gave you earlier on, and hopefully a combination of the two, you will never ever find yourself having to really spell out the rules to somebody online what CWB or 31k rules are, because you can direct them to this video or direct them to that website. Anyway folks, thanks for watching, thanks for paying attention, and I appreciate this isn't an online battle, but the amount of times I've got into an argument online with people who don't know the rules of 31k or CWB, I thought for once I'll put a video up there to make it nice and simple. Anyway folks, all the best and bye now.